Alright, so this is version 2 of the Cosplay Wings. This version does rely on having a 3D printer because most of the parts, including these parts that are helping put the holes so I can put those thingies on, they rely on using a 3D printer. So I was going to use magnets, like as you can see here, magnets so that when you pull the drawer out and you push the drawer back in, it sticks to it, but those did not want to work properly, so I decided not to do that. And the new design has pins that stop the drawer from falling out. So this is a two-part or two-section thing, top and bottom, but they can be printed as one single piece. Then here's the top piece. So these two are the same, well, they're basically the same piece. Not the same piece, never mind. So this bottom plate is actually thicker than the top plate because, well, you're not gonna be able to, you're not gonna see the top plate, but it is thinner because I didn't want it to be too thick. So here is the part that attaches the bottom of the linear actuator to the board. That's the middle part that keeps it what's that one I want, like straight, and that doesn't make it like move a lot. And then that's the connector piece that will connect the moving part of the wings to it. And I'm just screwing in the screws right here. So you can see that top piece, it's kind of hard to see now, but the top right piece, you can see that it's kind of like, it doesn't look like it's good. I tried, so I printed it and it failed, so I printed the second half of that piece, and then I tried to do some PLA welding to put it together, and that didn't turn out that well, but it's still a usable piece, so I just decided not to print it again and just to use that piece. That's why the top right piece looks bad. It is important to keep the linear actuator straight, so that whenever it moves the wings in and out, they're not like all crooked, even though they are kind of crooked when they go in and out, because it's a little, you gotta have like the same weight on either side. But yeah. Alright, so this is the controller. So last time I had a three-way switch, so an up, stop, and a down. This controls everything. So there's a switch on the left side that's up, remote, and then down. You put it on the remote, then it controls by the remote. If not, then it goes up and down. So this is very basic wiring, where the last time there was like 9-12 different wires. This one's super simple. Basically, you can see it says power on the left side, where I'm putting the wires in, and the motor on the right side. There's a positive and negative to the motor, goes to the right side, depending on which one of those little bubbles says minus or plus. You can't really see it, but they do. And then the left side, there's a little battery there, and it says minus and plus. So literally 4 wires, and it's all connected. There is some extra wires, but the extra spots for wires, but those are not needed. Those are for like other fancy stuff. And here I am using the remote to move it up and down. It does take about 15 seconds to go up and down, which is not that long. It's pretty fast, even though it looks pretty slow. So it's A goes down, and then the B goes up. So it's literally just 2 button pushes, and it moves it. C and D don't do anything. I believe those attach to the other 2 empty slots that I didn't put any wires in. And it really doesn't matter what controller you use, or like the battery pack or linear actuator, as long as it's a 12-volt battery pack, 4-inch 12-volt linear actuator, and then as long as you can have a power and battery and a remote for the controller type, then it doesn't matter what type you use. I just picked the cheapest off of Amazon, basically. So here's the sizes. So the sizes you see right there, well, you can't really tell the sizes, but those are kind of wrong. So there's a 2.5, there's 2 4s, there's 2 8s, and there's one 16.5, a 20, and a 24 for one side of the wings. Times that by 2, and then you get both sides. This is just showing off what one wing would go together and look like. These parts that I'm showing are hole guides for the hinges. So basically they help you put where the holes need to go so they line up perfectly with the hinges. It's very useful. I am making it so that you only need one type of hole guide. So there's reasons why there's 3, because the holes are different heights on 3 different hinge parts. So I'm making it so that they're all the same, so it's just basically 2 of those and you can't mix it up. That'll come later. As you can see, it lines up good. You might need to run the drill through it even after you put the first hole. You have to run it with the, yeah, like that, to help it, so that make sure it goes in properly. So here's the different versions of the hinges I made. This was the very first. As you can see, it's very sloppy and very bad. Here's version 2, kind of the same, a little thicker. And then this one, I decided to go 1 and 2 on the sides. So the 1 stays the same, but the 2 get quite a bit wider, like as you can see, to help it from breaking. And then for the 2-way, I start with 3 very skinny ones. And then that one broke off. Then I went to 2. And then I made the 2 a little wider and thicker. And then this is the most recent 2. It's a lot more stable. I am making a new one of this one also that's a lot less likely to break. And then here's the sizes in the top left corner. You can see what the size goes where. And here's me putting it together. Oh, I didn't finish that, but here's me actually putting it all together on the part. So I made a little stand so that I could put the whole thing on and stand it upright, so so it's a lot easier to work on. And this is the first time you'll see how I attach the feathers to the actual wings. Feathers in quotation marks, of course. They're not really, yeah. So it's basically a 2-piece thing. It'll show more in depth in a few minutes. So it starts connected to the board. That's the static piece right there. And then the top piece is the piece that moves. It actually makes it all move good. And then here's the demonstration of it moving down. And then back up. As you can see, I'm using the toggle switch on the side, which can make it go up and down. And then here's the pieces. So that first piece is the bottom piece, and then there's this attachment piece that helps keep the feather from, like, keeps it it's kind of hard to explain. But basically those two holes try to help it make sure that the feather doesn't like shift and it stays perfectly straight with that piece. So then there's the top piece that grabs on, well, it slides onto the PVC. And then what I'm using to attach everything together, they're called Clevis pins. They're all a 1/4 inch. And then they're all different sizes. As you can see, there's the shorter size for the attaching the hinges. And there's a slightly longer size for attaching the top piece of the feather holder to the PVC. And then there's an even longer size to attach the top and bottom piece of the feather holder together. As you can see, I'm putting in right now. So these last four, I thought this would work, but it really does not work. So I put these on as moving pieces, even though it'll work, but it doesn't really work. It's kind of hard to explain. So I'm just gonna put these on, and then there's a video that shows that they don't work how I wanted it to work originally. Alright, here it is. So I thought if I strung them all together, they would like relieve, loosen up the string, like the string would come loose and they just hang down, but they really don't. Yeah, they kind of bunch up like that, which is not good. So then I made these static pieces. So the fourth one in, I believe, yeah, the fourth one from the left side, it has like a little hole right there so that it doesn't interfere with that PVC at the bottom there. And so as you can see, there's like 4 different static pieces. They do go from 110 to 140 degrees from vertical to left. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah. But then I also made a 90-degree one and then 100, and yeah, so there's 90s to 130 static that can go on the left 3. And then there's this one that the fourth one from the left has a little center cut out so it doesn't interfere with that bottom PVC. I will be making like the 130 and the 120 like that so that it doesn't interfere like that. So it doesn't interfere, and you can use the 90, 110, 90, 110, and then the 120 as the open one. Alright, so here I'm showing off how the 3 closest to the motor, how I attach them all. So basically, I put a hole in the one right under where the fourth one from the left is. I should have put it on where the fourth one from the left is. It's kind of hard to explain. The one with the center cut out so that it doesn't interfere with the hole, because it would make it, yeah. So basically I use these eye hooks to attach them all together so that when they pull, it pulls them out, and then when it comes in, they let go. as you can see here, as they're out. So you can see at the top there's a little bend. It's not like straight. That's because where the 3 and the right side are attached, it kind of bends it up. If it was attached where the 4th one from the left is, then it would probably bring it down and make it a lot more straighter curve. Or not, yeah, a lot more straighter. So then they actually like, they're not pointed down, they're more pointed outward, so it looks better. And then here's it coming out. So they are super thick, as you can see from the left side if the top part's straight. And here it is. Alright, so this version is a lot more better than the first one because of all the pieces that actually help it work a lot better. So before I was using these metal hinges that really did not work, and they kind of ripped the screws out of the PVC and it kind of just screwed everything up. And it's a lot more lighter because I'm not using the wood, I'm using plastic pieces. And as you can see, this is the this is the only part of the second version I'm making, and there's a lot more together than it was the first one, so it's a lot more better. Version 3 is just going to be so I'm going to take out the middle part and I make it so like it's string movable, so there's no motor, no electronics. You just have strings going from your shoulders down. You can pull and it goes out. But I'm going to use the same type of attaching the feathers to the thing, and it's going to be a lot more better. So that, because like some people were saying that a version without the electronics would be better, so I'm going to do that for version 3. And yes, I know it's not all together and it's not all working and good and how I want it to work, but it is a lot more better and actually working version than the first one. And so all the parts for the 3D printed parts, it will be in the description down below, and also all the other parts like the actuator and the plastic backboard, the different Clevis pins I use, they'll be all down below. So version 3, like I said, it'll be using strings, and I'll hopefully finish both wings, and it'll actually look good and not like what I have it now. So hope this was maybe interesting, and catch you guys in the next video.